Bible notes that as blacks have progressed over the years, that blacks have joined white churches. At the time of his writing, he was addressing an issue to where that blacks had been able to move out of the inner city, had been able to move up the corporate ladder, and had been able to move from the inner city out to the suburbs where they found better housing and less crowded living conditions. But there were no black churches in those areas, so blacks joined churches that were nearby them, which were white churches. Dr. McMillan's argument was not against blacks joining white church, but it was about how would the white church support its black members who were dealing with racial insecurities. He knows that our black churches have stood the test of time, that the foundation that we've been built on, that we've been places of refuge for our people and for the social injustices that our people have suffered through, that our churches have been the arms that we could lean on to be able to stand up for us. Dr. McMichael says that in defending what he is saying about blacks moving out to white churches, he says, nor do I want to discourage black people from doing so, from joining white churches. Instead, I want to challenge white churches with black members to speak a healing word to their black members who come to church, having battled the still prevalent forces of racism and discrimination in American society. At that time, we were dealing with driving while black, being stopped because you were black and driving a nice car, and the assumption was by the police that if you were black and driving a nice car, that you had stolen the car. There were other issues that we faced, but some of Dr. McMillan's point was the black church has always been involved from day one of having members who suffered the inequalities of life. So they needed to be built on a rock. So our foreparents built upon the rock of Jesus. Dr. McMichael's question is still relevant to us today, my brothers and sisters, as we ponder the questions: are our white brothers and sisters, our white congregations willing to support us in the times in which we live? Recently, we have dealt with Black Lives Matter, and we're still dealing with our other members of our race being shot down unjustly, and there are unnecessary shootings that are occurring, and the question still speaks as relevance to us today. Will our white brothers and sisters stand up for these injustices? In our text today, Jesus calls for people to build upon a rock. In the first part of the chapter, here in Luke's gospel, Jesus is teaching. He's teaching his followers and those looking on with criticizing eyes about doing good on the Sabbath, as he plucks grain on the Sabbath and he heals on the Sabbath. He's already established that he had not come to call the righteous to repentance, but that he had come to call the sinners to repentance. In other words, that if you were already righteous, Jesus didn't come to mess with you, but he came to mess with us